Hello, everybody. I think I'm back. Yeah, I think I'm back with you guys. At least for a few times. Hello, Nanette. Hey, Ruth. Hello, Rhonda. Hello. Hi, Joan. Good to see you guys. I must look a little blown out today. It's very bright here, even though I have tipped the window shades. I think the white might be a little overwhelming. If I look a little ghostly, I apologize. Oh, it's good to see you. Hi, Sharon. Hello, Purple Nana Linda. Tori. Oh, I did have a good time. I thought we'll just talk today, and I have a big mess here as far as organizational things go, but I thought we'd spend today talking a little bit. Yes, he's still here. Hello, Mary. Good to see you. I missed you guys too. I missed all of you. Chance missed me most of all, I'm afraid. He did. Hello, Becky. Good to see you. Oh, thank you guys for coming. Hi, Linda. Thank you all for coming today. Hi, Patricia. I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm glad to be back with you. I really am. I really am. Sound is okay, I hope. Hi, Mary. The Marriottier. Oh, you guys are great. Thank you for coming. Sound is okay. Everything is okay, I hope. Race is not in the United States right now, so I am flying solo. Oh, you're in Texas, so that's great. Good for you, Ruth. Sound is good. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't know quite where I am. Okay, good. I'm not sure where I am, but I think I'm here with you guys, and everything seems to be working okay from what I can tell. Like I said, Race is out. He is elsewhere. He is across the pond, as it were, in a different direction than I went. And so he and I FaceTimed this morning, which was this afternoon for him. I'm telling you what, this whole time change has been quite the challenge. Quite the challenge. Hi, Angie. So I thought I'll tell you some about the trip, where I was, what I did, etc. You're having a very blah day. Well, Becky, maybe we can. Hi, shoot. Maybe we can give you something to think about, huh? Oh, you're vegging. You're not begging, you're vegging. That's good. I'm glad it's vegging, because I wasn't sure what you'd be begging for. Anyway, so good to see you guys. It's good to be here. Good to be here. I'm kind of ready to get back in the swing of things, which means keeping Chance's rear end from broadcasting to the world. He is just about to lose his mind having me back. I got home. True, the phone is difficult to type on. I got back from my trip this is Friday, I think. I'm still spending a lot of time going, let's see, today is, and checking my phone and my, everything to see what the day is for sure. And am I losing weight? I have lost weight. I've lost about 25 pounds, but I'm sure I gained part of that back while I was on the trip. But anyway, yeah, so I got back Wednesday at 4 o'clock in the morning, this Wednesday, which is not too many hours ago. I got back. So I'm back. I'm really grateful to be back, but I really had a wonderful time. So 4 o'clock in the morning, Wednesday, I got home to my house, and so I came in, and the dog was pretty glad to see us, see me walk through the door. I was with the Studley Duck. I'll tell you about the trip and so forth, that he dropped me off at the house, and then he left and staggered his way home, I think. And Chance's tail is lethal at the moment. He is wagging his tail and rearranging everything on my table at the moment. Anyway, when we walked through the door, Muppet finally, who doesn't hear anything, doesn't see much, sees a little bit, sees more than she hears, finally came, and she was immediately like, "Oh, you're here." Kind of like that. She wagged around, she received her pats, and she was very happy, and then she was content to go back and lay down. Chance, on the other hand, I could not find the cat. I could not find the cat anywhere. And finally, I thought, well, I had looked all over the studio. I looked all over the downstairs. Couldn't find him. Kept calling him. He didn't respond. And finally, I went up and thought, well, he must be upstairs. And keep getting messages popping up on my computer. Anyway, I went upstairs because he has one spot in the guest room where he likes to lie on the floor, next to the floor register, the floor vent, and because as he's gotten older, he needs that warmth. And so I went up there, and he was in that room, and I called him, and he ran away from me, and I'm like, oh no, this is terrible. He's horrible. He hates me. And I talked to him, and he looked like he didn't know who I was. And I talked to him some more, and finally I went over, and he would let me pick him up. Yes, you let me pick you up, didn't you? And then it took him a minute before he started purring again. So he started purring, and he forgave me. It took him a little minute, but he forgave me. Hello, Mama Sherry. So he forgave me and decided that it was okay, that I was back, and he started purring, and he has not left me alone since. At all. Not left me alone at all. Yeah. So he is like having a tick. And I mean, by a tick, I mean the bugs that cling on to you, bite you, and hang on for dear life. Yeah. That you can't shake off, you can't get rid of, you can't do it. He is that. Yeah. So he is probably going to be here unless he reverts to his behavior of give me treats and put me in the other room, which could happen. I don't know. Anyway, so if I haven't managed to see your name, but hello, Janet. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Janet understands how I'm feeling right now because she made a similar trip that we made. He is clinging to me like crazy. He if I sit down, he's in my lap. I let him sleep. I never let him sleep in bed with me. And the first night I let him, because I felt sorry for him, which is a terrible way to make decisions for pets, by the way. But I felt sorry for him. And so I thought, well, I'll let him sleep in bed with me. Oh, cats. The cat. I mean, I didn't get to bed until about 6 Wednesday morning. And he spent the next hour after that, so I think I went to sleep around 6:30 or 7. He spent whatever time he was in bed with me rubbing on my head, rubbing on my hands. He wanted me to pat him. He was drooling. It was disgusting, you guys. It was disgusting. And I'm like, I am so gonna take you down and lock you in the studio. And I couldn't even get out of bed. I couldn't move. Couldn't even get out of bed. Oh, so crazy. So crazy. Barbara Clark, hello. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's good to be back with you guys. So, anyway, so that's the coming home. I got home Wednesday at 4 in the morning. I slept a little while. Race had told me, he had made this trip before several years ago, and he had told me to get back into my normal routine as quickly as I could. And so that's what I have been doing. I have been, trying to get oriented back into time and space. It's been a challenge. It has. Yes. Yeah. Becky can relate with her cats. All right. I'm going to move this so you don't put cat hair in my water, okay? Thank you, bud. Anyway, so where I have been is, yes, and it was daylight savings time, which really didn't matter a whole lot because I changed time zones so many times that it really, I didn't know. I still am not sure. I think it's probably going to take me another week before I know where I am. On top of that, the seasons changed while I was gone, and I came back, and I missed all the initial. Wish he would quit rubbing his head on everything. He just keeps rearranging my entire table here. The seasons changed while I was gone. We went from winter to spring while I was gone. And I came home, and as I'm driving around, I was in summer. I came home, and it was spring, and my head is just not. It's not processing quite right. Anyway, so where I was invited by the Studley duck, yuck, to go on this cruise in the southern hemisphere. He missed me a ton, I will tell you. He's probably going to be a part of this whole thing. I was in the southern hemisphere. We flew from the U.S. We flew from Kansas City, Missouri, to L.A. You just love me. You just can't quite believe I'm here. I had a house sitter who was in and out all the time. And so he had potential and lots of opportunities for affection, but he didn't particularly care for the house sitter or pet sitter, although she's been here before, that he held a grudge against her. So anyway, we flew to Kansas City. We flew from Kansas City to LA. And we had a layover for, I don't know, 3 hours or something. It wasn't very long, really, in LA. And that's where my son is. And he doesn't live very far from the airport, but it just was not enough time for us to leave the air. He couldn't come in the airport, and I could not. If I left the airport, then I was going to have to go back through all the security stuff and do all that stuff and get, it was a little too much. So we ended up talking on the phone or FaceTiming or something, but quite honestly, I don't remember what it was, but I know we talked in some way. And then we boarded the plane and we flew from LA to Auckland, New Zealand. He probably won't go in the other room unless he begs for it. He's probably just going to be here and be obnoxious, aren't you? And so we flew all night long, and we landed in Auckland, New Zealand at like 8:30 in the morning. It was, Rhonda. It really was. Listen, first class would be the way to go. We were not in first class. We were in Comfort Plus class. And going over, which really, really helped because you got a little bit extra leg room. And we were with a group of, it ended up to be 14 people total. And 3 of them came, I think it was the next day or 2 days later. I forgot. The time, there is just no time. There's no time. I have no time reference whatsoever. I will show you how I kept track of the days. Okay. Chance, just a minute, buddy. I have so many pictures to show you. I have so many things that I will share with you as we go through this over the next several times that I stream. I hope that I don't bore you totally to death. I am going to put together a scrapbook, a small scrapbook, and so like a junk journal scrapbook type thing. And I journaled my way through the trip, and so I have my journal here that's written in pencil, which is something I never do, but that's what I did, so I could erase and, correct myself here and there. Anyways, that's the only way I could ever keep track of where I was and what I was doing and what day it was, because there's just no time reference. Anyway, we landed in Auckland, New Zealand. Hello, Dorothy. And it was a very long trip. Oh, that's too bad, Angie. Big hugs. Big hugs. Yeah, those are always such hard things to have somebody share with you. Yeah, everybody remember Angie's aunt. Big hugs for her. Big hugs for you. So, we arrived at 8:30 in the morning. And so then this guy came to pick us up. And there were 11 of us, I think, at that point that were together. And with a lot of luggage. But just for the record, I was told to pack lightly. There were a couple of people, Crafting Mama Shelley was one of them, who said, don't pack a lot. And so I didn't. I took that advice to heart. I really didn't know how to pack. I had no idea how to pack going. Okay, first of all, I don't wear shorts. I'm going to summer. I don't know what kind of weather is going to be. Hi, Kel. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. For sure, I bought capris. That's as short as I'm ever going to wear because I don't like shorts. I think somebody my age looks ridiculous in shorts. That's just me. And I don't have the most attractive legs in the whole world. So anyway, I did not pack a whole lot. I should have packed a little bit more. I only took 1 pair of jeans because I'm thinking, it's going to be summer. Well, I should have taken more long pants, but you make do. You make do. I should have taken a heavier jacket. So I bought one. Correction, Studley Duck bought me one. But I was pretty amazed because my luggage, my suitcase, which was the exact same suitcase that Studley Duck had weighed about a little over half of what his weighed. So that was, hey, Sharon. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny, actually. And those of you who are coming into the chat that don't wonder where in the world I have been literally on the other side of the world. Anyway, so we had our luggage. I only had my big suitcase and a medium, like a carry-on, one that would carry on the plane suitcase, and a tote bag with not a lot in it, and my purse thing that I could wear across my body. Anyway, There were a lot of people on this trip, had a lot bigger and a lot more luggage than I had, let me tell you. I'm glad I didn't have more. So the guy came, we met this guy to take us to the hotel. He had a trailer behind his van, and it was like the game of Jenga, putting all the suitcases in this trailer and in the van, and then 11 of us got in the van, and he took us to the hotel where we were going to be, which was not ready because it's 10:30 in the morning. And so they did have a place where they let us put all the luggage. Now, we've flown all night long, okay? And so nobody's sure, and they fed us all night long. The food wasn't that great, but it was okay, it's passable. So you don't know if you're hungry or not hungry. And the time difference is this weird time difference. Like, for example, right now in Auckland, it's 7:22 in the morning, and here it is 1:22 in the afternoon, but it's 7:22 in the morning tomorrow. Okay? Does that give you any idea of what causes confusion? I mean, you're just, because you lose a day. So I was in the next day and trying to figure out, you're trying to figure out if you're hungry, if you're not hungry, what do you need? You're not really sleepy, but you didn't have any sleep and you've lost a day. It's crazy. Hello, Evelyn. Hello. But isn't that the funniest, craziest thing? Your mind just can't, my brain just could not wrap itself around what was going on. And so we can't go lay down, you can't rest because the hotel's not ready. So we took off, and I don't even know what we did without reading in my journal. I don't know what we did for sure. But anyway, that was the start to the adventure. So we were in Auckland, New Zealand, for, I think it was 3 days, but I'm not sure without looking at my journal. I think it was 3 days. And then we boarded the cruise ship, a Holland America cruise ship called the Noordam or something, Noordam. And so this is the only way that I knew what day it was. I will show you. Just got to zoom in here so you can see. Every day you had to travel in the ship by elevator. And every day, this is how I would know what the day was. Because in the elevator, on the floor, they changed the rug out every day. And with whatever the current day was, day of the week. And that's the only way that I knew for sure what day it was. So every day I took a picture of our feet on the elevator with the rug. So I knew that all the pictures after that in my phone, all the pictures after that have to do with that day or surrounding that. Anyway, I'll figure it out. It is crazy. Hi, Tina. It's crazy. It really is crazy. So we were on the ship then, on and off the ship for 16 days. It really was clever, Joan. It was also very necessary. Obviously, they understand that you have to have something to keep you oriented because there's no routine that makes any sense. You've lost a day. You've gone without sleep. You have specific times to have, there was a specific time to eat dinner. But, there was always food available someplace on the ship until like 11 or 11:30 at night. But it was a nice big ship. I think there were 1,900 people or thereabouts on the ship from all over the world. It was fascinating to get acquainted with people. I think the vast majority of them, were Americans. some of which I was very ashamed to be associated with, by the way. Most people were nice, but there were some people that treated the servers and workers on the ship like they were less than, and I just find that deplorable, quite frankly. But there were not too many of those, which is good. There were some people on the ship who live on the ship, at least live there a good share of the time. Some of them were people who chose to be living on the ship rather than in a nursing home. And there were I didn't see any kids at all. This was primarily older people that were on the ship. They did have activities for teens and kids, but I think there might have been one teenager traveling with his grandmother, and that was it. I never saw anybody else. I know, right, Janet? So, the staff of this ship could not have been better. Our cabin steward was named Yu, and his assistant was, I think his name was Kevin. I know that wasn't his real name. I can't remember for sure. Anyway, both of these guys were from Indonesia. And these people on these ships work 11 and 12-hour shifts. And I never one time felt like one person I interacted with who was a staff or a server kind of person on the ship was anything but friendly and lovely. They were the best people. I know, Janet, right? And that's what they did. There were people there on walkers, We saw more than one traveling that was there. They were there by themselves on a walker or other walking aid. And they live on the ship. Because it is less expensive for them to do that than to live in a nursing home. And as long as they're able to do it, they're taken care of. Their food is always prepared. Their cabins are taken care of. They have opportunities to get off and go see things, So, I'm not sure I could do it. I'm enough of a homebody. I'm not sure that I could do that, but there were several that we know for a fact were living on the ship. Anyway, so this cruise was 16 days. As I go through organizing my stuff and putting together my scrapbook, I will tell you more bits and pieces about what we did where. But we toured several places in Auckland. We did tour several places in Auckland, but then we got on the ship. You had to go through all this, cattle, the back and forth thing until we got on the ship. And, my attitude toward all this stuff, regardless of what it is, the flight, the ship, the custom stuff and immigration and all that, because all of this was new to me. I've never done any of this before. I've done one cruise for like less than a week, and it was in the Caribbean. You didn't even have to have a passport back then. It was so long ago. My attitude is just float, because if you don't know what something is, somebody's going to tell you, or you're going to ask a question, and people will always guide you. But there were some people, especially some Americans, that were so snooty and snotty and rude, and things were not going as well as they should have gone. And I'm like, okay, you're not even in your own country, so I would just cool your jets if I were you. I just float. I just float and see how it's going to go, So we finally got on the ship and got we found the room that we were in, and It had a balcony. We were on the back end of the ship, which is the aft end of the ship, I believe. And that was really nice because you could go out on the balcony and you could see both sides of the ship. That was really nice. It was pretty cool. Hello, Anne. Good to see you. Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy, Rhonda? That people choose to live on the ship. I don't know. I never would have thought of doing it. But anyway. And those of you that don't know, hello, Connie. Chance is just, he can't really believe his eyes that I'm really back. And so he's part of us today because I'm just chatting with you. And I'm very kind of out of the loop. And so we're just going to talk a little bit today. I'm going to show you kind of my couple things I got. I'm going to show you my plan kind of for what I'm going to do to put the memories together. And that's what I'm going to do today. Okay? Thank you, Anne. Yeah. So let's see, where am I? So the ship took off, and I do not remember the schedule until I go through my journal. But we stopped in several different ports in New Zealand, and we did some tours in New Zealand. We did a lot of walking. The ship was big enough that we did a lot of walking on the ship. To get anywhere, you walked a lot. So if mobility was an issue for somebody, it was especially when the sea would get a little rough, and the sea was not nearly as rough as it could have been. We still had 2 or 3 days where it was good that the hallways were not real wide and they also would close a couple of times. I think only twice they closed the outer deck of the ship. Because if that was open, you could go out and you could walk the entire circumference. Yeah, circumference of the ship. That's probably not the right word, but you can walk the deck all the way around the ship. And there were a couple of times where it was rough enough that they closed all the doors so you couldn't go out. There were people, okay, speaking of walking on the deck of the ship, okay, now maybe you guys understand this. I don't. Personally, but there were people on that ship that they must have been fitness something or others, because there were lots of fitness opportunities available. Janet, I'm sure, will understand this and explain it to me. They don't make you play bingo, but there is an opportunity to play bingo at least a couple times a day, Janet. You'll be glad to know that. That's pretty much it. Angie, that's pretty much it. You don't have to do much but bathe yourself. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to read that out loud, Angie. Yeah. But they had a stretch class at I don't know if it was 7 a.m. or something. There was a stretch class, and I'm like, that always sounds so good. Stretch classes sound like, oh, that would be so good. Stretch classes, you can hurt yourself. You can hurt yourself stretching. And I didn't go on this ship. I did not go on this ship to be a fitness buff. I just did not, We did we did a ton of walking, and we walked the outer circumference of the ship several times. If you did it 3 times, then it was a mile. That tells you how big the ship was. What else? But they had Tai Chi classes, and they had, I don't think they had aerobics classes, but I don't know. They had dance classes. They had all this stuff. Okay. They had art stuff too. And I will tell, I am happy to report I didn't participate in any class of any kind. I wasn't there to go to school. I was not. I wasn't there to stay fit. Yeah. Sharon Marlowe says, breaking news, group called Fibs takes cruise ship overloaded with art supplies and they refuse to leave. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. Sherry says if she tried much stretching at 7 a.m., she'd hurt more than herself. Yeah, like the person in the little, anyway. So I did not participate in any of the classes, although there were a couple art classes that I really thought I was going to go to. One was on brush lettering, and there were quite a few painting classes. I think there was one that was in oil, but I'm not positive. There were some watercolor classes. I managed to escape all of them. I just didn't want to do that. It's what I do here. It's what I do at home. I don't want to have to go live my same life when I'm on vacation that I live at home. You know what I mean? So, but what I did do that was great, and this was because the Sedley Duck's sister and brother-in-law were on this trip. The brother-in-law actually was the one that organized everything, which was very helpful. I cannot say thank you enough. We called him King David, and I could not thank King David enough for his knowledge and being able to put all this together is beyond me, totally beyond me. Anyway, they sent us, there was a neat aspect to this cruise, which was there's an app that you could put on your phone, and you could have a chat with people on the ship. Internet access was very spotty. On the ship, you couldn't use it much at all, or it was very expensive. But you could do this, use the app that was associated with the ship. And so it was just like text messaging, and which was really cool once you figured it out. It took a little bit to figure it out, but finally got it. And yeah, Anne, exactly. And so we got a message from Studley Duck's sister, and she said that they were in one of the bars, and I was out. This is that evening, and I was tired. I was truly pie-eyed, stupid tired, and I was ready to go to bed. And she said that in one of the bars, of which there are several on a ship, none of them are really big, but one of the bars, which was called the Billboard On Board or something, that there were dueling pianos. Well, any of you that know that I was a piano major, that of course piqued my interest really quickly to see what that was about. And so we finally found this bar, and it was a young couple. Turns out that, in fact, they were a couple, a girl and a guy, and they were, I'd say, late 20s, early 30s, but I don't know for sure. And they were playing Yamaha grand pianos that were put together, like, how do I show this to you? With the, like, I can't show it to you. Anyway, the crook part of the piano was nested inside the other crook of the grand pianos. So they were facing each other, and those, I will call them kids because they were so much younger than I was. But those kids were so good. Oh my goodness, they were good. And we spent every night there. I think there were 2 nights in the whole time that we were there where they weren't, where they had the night off. The rest of the time we spent every night from about 7 or 7:30 until they closed that bar at 11, listening to them. Those kids were so good. They were so unbelievably good. And I had the best time. We all did. And a lot of us from our group did the same thing. It was so good. That was the best entertainment. I know there was other entertainment on the ship. We really didn't participate in it because the piano and these kids were so good. They were so good. And the knowledge base that these kids had was phenomenal. Hi, Miss Allie K. We're on the ship for 16 days. Their knowledge base of music that spanned, I think they started as early as the 30s, 1930s, up to current music. And their knowledge base was phenomenal. And what each of them had was an iPad. They did not have music in front of them. They had the lyrics of the songs, so they could call up the different songs. Because every night was a request show. One of them was. And so they were, searching their, whatever their base was inside the iPad for the lyrics. And it was phenomenal what they were able to do. Absolutely phenomenal. And those kids played so well. So well. And they sang beautifully. My favorite memory of all the days and nights, the one that really stuck out listening to them, their names were Megan and Gabe. Do you think you could have played that piano? Nope, I couldn't have played that piano. Nope, there's not a chance. But they clearly had done it long enough. They were very comfortable doing it. And but my favorite one, because they would play off of each other, they would tease each other and stuff, which was really cute. And so they decided one night they were going to play, there were theme songs, because every night was a different theme that they were doing. And one night it was movie themes. And so they played the music from Pretty Woman. And Megan is teasing him and getting him to tell the story of Pretty Woman. And I'm sure pretty much all of you, many of you here anyway, the majority of people watching this are going to know the theme song to Pretty Woman. You're also going to know the premise of Pretty Woman, right? It's been around a long time. A long time. Yes. Could you just sit? That would be so helpful. And anyway, Gabe he said apparently their parents, both Megan's and Gabe's parents, had cruised, while they were on the ship at various times. And so Gabe's mother was cruising with them on one cruise. And she said, he said, and he wanted to play the song Pretty Woman for her. He was a little more naive, it appeared, than Megan was. And so when it came time to do the song, apparently they, because there's a lot of spontaneity between the couple, the two people. Hello, are you okay? Are you okay? He still doesn't really believe that I'm here. You don't really believe I'm back, do you? So he decides, kind of off the cuff, apparently not discussing it with Megan, who would have enlightened him, but he decided to dedicate Pretty Woman to his mother. And when he did that, Megan, sitting across, because you're far apart from each other when the pianos are crook to crook, and the grand pianos, it's a distance. So you don't really have an opportunity for your partner to say, no, not a good idea. No. And so he's dedicating this to his mother, and that she is such a lovely person and blah, blah, blah. So he's really building her up, and then they start the song. Of course, Megan on the other side is about to just collapse, because she knows that once he really thinks about the lyrics that he's getting ready to sing, and it hits him, what he's insinuating about his mother might not go well. And so he says, and so I start to sing, because he's singing the song. Megan is playing, but he's singing the song. And he gets to the part about Pretty Woman walking down the street, and And I don't know what the next part of the lyrics are. But anyway, then it dawns on him that what this song is really about, and that he has dedicated this to his mother. And I think everyone was equally horrified, but there wasn't much he could do but just carry on and sing the rest of the song. But it has made for an excellent story ever since. So that was my biggest memory about that. Although those kids were so talented, so good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every moment of listening to them, every single minute. It was really funny. So anyway, so that was our entertainment. It was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. So any of you that want to Google up the lyrics to Pretty Woman, do that and kind of know what the movie is, and imagine being a young son who was trying to give his mother a great compliment, and think about it as you read the lyrics from that perspective. You will laugh. You will laugh too. He did laugh at his own expense, which was perfect, you know. Anyway, so that was Hello, Jan. Welcome back, Pretty Woman, Illegal Bean Juice Tapo. Thank you, Jan. It was so funny. Oh my goodness, that was one of the highlights of the cruise itself. I did find out, you guys, there was an espresso bar on the ship. Oh yes, there was. I frequented that a lot. Wasn't Starbucks, but it was an espresso bar. And it was very good. It was very nice. So we stopped at various ports in New Zealand. We went through, and I'll show you pictures later. We went through this section in New Zealand called the fjords. I did not know they had fjords in New Zealand. I thought those were only in Norway. I'm not one of those people that's geographically knowledgeable. I am challenged by two things, geography and time. Math would be a third one. I know, right, Dorothy? It honestly, Pretty Woman is one of my favorite movies, to tell you the truth. Yes. So we went through the fjords. So the ship went through this absolutely stunningly beautiful. It was the most memorable time on the ship to see those fjords. It was just stunning. It was absolutely amazing to see that. The worst part about it was that there were these little black bugs that I was not warned about. No one was warned about these little black bugs. Some sort of biting, horrible bugs. Some kind of awful bugs. Little bugs, you could see them. They weren't like chiggers, you know. There were little flying black bugs that bit or stung or something. Oh. And they got us 100%. Any exposed skin, man, they got to you in a hurry. And if they bit or stung, whatever it was they did, in a few days you were going to be miserable, and we were 100%. They were awful. Hello, Jamie. Chi-chi flies, is that what they are? Hey, Jamie, good to see you, by the way. Chi-chi flies, they're awful. Little black bugs are like this long. And they are absolutely horrible. I looked over at Studley Duck. We were both on the balcony looking at the scenery and taking pictures, which was just remarkable. And I looked over at him, and the flies were all around. These bugs were it was like a black ring around his ankle. Hi, Janet. Good to see you. It was literally all around both of his ankles. And I said, you got to do something, because they were just sitting there just sucking his blood, I guess. And he goes, well, I don't even feel him. Well, he felt them later. Believe you me, he felt them later. He went right into the cabin and he got socks, and he covered up all of his skin, but he also had bites on his hands. They were crazy. Those were some crazy bugs. Crazy bugs. Yeah. Lurky turkey. Gotcha. Well, I'm glad to know. Chi-chi flies. I'll have to look that up. Somebody said they were midges or something. I don't know. Chi-chi flies. I'm going to look that up. Chance, leave me alone. I'll look that up. Oh, they were nasty little things. And, sometimes people react a lot to certain kinds of bugs, bug bites and stuff. Man, I react. And everybody, and it was only the people that were on the back end of the ship. So Studley Duck's sister and brother-in-law were next door to us. Everybody that was on the back end of the ship, I don't know why they decided to attack us, but they did. And they were bad. They were really bad. We all suffered with those, and those kinds of biting things really upset my system a lot. You got swarmed by them in Hawaii. Ugh. Maybe midges. I don't know what they were. Nasty is what they were. Nasty. I mean, I will not take a trip like that again, probably ever, but if I ever do, I will be taking some kind of bug, something with me. Clearly, somebody else on the ship knew about it, because the room and the floor below ours, you could see their balcony. They were out there with bug spray going like this, like misting themselves with bug spray, and I'm like, oh my gosh, then you're breathing that stuff in. It would have been worth it. It would have been worth it. Those little suckers were miserable. Anyway, so we went through the fjords. That was absolutely the most stunning scenery. Stunning. And then we cruised for a couple of days. We were at sea a couple of days going from New Zealand to Australia. So one night we had to set the clocks back an hour the first night. And then, so that's enough to mess you up. But that wasn't enough. The next night, we set them back again another hour. And I'm like, then, I mean, I was already reverse of where I was from where I live. I was the opposite time. I was in an opposite season. And now I'm losing hours or gaining hours. I don't know what I did. I don't know if I lost or gained, I guess. Anyway, so we were then in Australia for cruising in Australia and stopping at various ports and going in. Tsetse, Tsetse. All right, let me correct myself. Tsetse. Thank you, Jamie. I'm going to look those up and see if that's who it is, what they were. They were nasty. Whatever they were nasty. So we were in Australia then for the balance of the trip. And then we flew out. We left on March the 12th. So that was a Tuesday. And we were supposed to leave at 6 o'clock in the morning. And if all had gone as planned, we would have gotten back to the U.S. at 8 o'clock, like 2 hours later on March the 12th. But we would have flown for many hours to land 2 hours later, time-wise. But as luck would have it, or fate, or something, both in this case, our flight from Sydney to LA got canceled. Less than 24 hours from the time that we were to board the plane, which sent the organizer of the trip, King David, into a tailspin trying to get all the reservations redone. And turns out it was a mechanical failure of the plane, so that's why it's very good that it happened before we left. And we had nice seats. We didn't have first class seats, but we were in a class called Comfort Plus, which was you had a little bit more leg room, a little more comfortable seats, and a little closer to the front of the, well, it was about in the wing area of the plane. Well, we lost that once we had to take what was available, and we were able to board the plane at, I think it was 1:15 when we boarded the next flight. We were the last. There were 9 of us that flew together in one group. There were 2 people that did their own thing, and the other 3 left the day before or something. I don't remember how it was. Anyway, there were 9 of us that we all got in the same flight by some miracle, which I appreciated. But we got the last row in the plane. The last row in the plane. Okay, have any of you ever flown sitting on the last row of a plane? Anyone? Anyone? Let's just say that it is, we were very grateful to get a flight. Sandflies in New Zealand. Okay. Okay, a couple of you have. Yeah. Well, you can't do much of anything. And the further you get back in the plane, the worse the accommodations, the worse the seats get, the worse everything is. It's one of those moments where you just go, we just have to float, and we just have to just be grateful that we're on the plane. So that's what we decided to do, just be grateful. Well, and so I am the kind of person that really likes a window seat, because I don't know, I feel good about helping the pilot fly the plane if I can see out. I'm not the best flyer in the world. Well, this plane was set up with 3 seats, 3 seats, 3 seats. Okay, so 9 seats across. So the group of 9 got to all sit together. And I am sitting in the middle of the middle section. So I'm as far away from the window as I can get. And I'm like, I can be calm, I can be calm, I can be calm, I can be calm. Okay. Well, and when you're sitting back in the back row, the galley people, when they're serving people, there were 10 or 12 flight attendants on this plane. I don't know how many people were on the plane. I really don't know, but it was a full flight. And so all of the noise is behind us, a lot of noise behind us. And because as they're managing the carts and the this and the that, and there was one flight attendant who was kind of the in-charge person. She had the most piercing voice I think I've ever heard. And she was not one of your real pleasant people. You know? Yeah, so those of you that know, yeah, we should have had the first class treatment, Janet. We really should have. Anyway, and they brought lots of food, none of which was very good, but, it was something to do. But in order to eat, you sort of had to move sideways, kind of juggle yourself sideways with the people you're sitting with. Fortunately, Studley Duck is on one side, and the other person I knew too, but I watched so many movies on that flight. Fortunately, they had choices of in-flight movies, and I just watched one after the other after the other. I slept through some of them. But the best part of that whole thing is that they dole out wine. And you wouldn't know it based on my behavior on the cruise ship, because I did drink my fair share of wine on the cruise ship. But I just kept drinking wine on that flight because it's like I've got to have something that just keeps me unaware of my surroundings if possible. It's crazy. Oh. Oh my goodness, that was a crazy flight. Anyway, I would go to sleep. I'd wake up. There's more food. They offer more wine. I said yes. And the flight, I don't know if any of you have flown in turbulence, but we flew in turbulence for, I think it was 13 hours. That's what that flight was like. It was worse. The further back you were in the plane, for some reason, it was worse. Now, I don't understand how it's worse in the back than in the middle or the front of the plane, but that's what they said. And so when they'd hand you something like a glass of, oh, I see Chance has let one of his mice, how did you let my lint roller catch one of your mice? How did you do that? Goofball. Go get it. Go get it. Anyway, so if they handed you something to drink, it didn't matter if it was wine, soda, coffee, tea, whatever. They'd hand it to you like this. About the time the plane would, hit a bump, and you better catch it. Because if you didn't, it was going to go all over your person. So it was quite a trip. It was quite a trip. It was pretty funny, You honestly you have to just see the humor in it, because otherwise you're going to be miserable for 13 hours and it's not worth that. It's not worth it. There were some people on the trip that were miserable for 13 hours, and I just refused to be one of them. So we just laughed and made the best of it, and I watched a lot of movies, and that was good. Yeah, so anyway, I was really, really grateful when we touched down in LA. Really super grateful. And then we had to go through customs and immigration and do all the stuff with that. I'd never had that experience before. We did all that, got our stuff. We were supposed to fly Sydney to LA, lay over for, not too long, reboard the plane, fly into Kansas City, and then drive home. Instead, we flew from Sydney to LA to Seattle. There were a layover each place, not too long, but several hours. Seattle to Kansas City. In Kansas City, then we got to get our luggage, and we had to had to get an Uber to go to the Studley Duck's daughter's house, which is where the van was. There were 4 of us at this point traveling together. So by the time we got there, it was, I don't know, 1 a.m., I think. Got our stuff shuffled into his van, all of our luggage. Then we drove back to, I don't know, we drove an hour and 45 minutes or something to the sister's house, unloaded their luggage, got the other car, and then drove on to my house. So I got home at 4 a.m. The Studley Duck unloaded me, and I said, please go home. So he left and went home. I crawled into the bathtub because I was just, after that many hours of being in the same clothes, and I'm just like, I am creeped out by myself. So I get in the bathtub. Chance, now at this point, is sitting outside the bathtub going, you're here. You're really here. You're really here. And he's purring. He has slobber dripping down both sides of his mouth. It was lovely. It was a vision. And then he would stand up. He would kind of sit back on the tub with one foot on the tub and the other foot, he's tapping my shoulder. And he did this for 30 minutes straight. Didn't you? And he still can't believe I'm really here. Shattered is, I was kind of shattered. I wasn't totally shattered, but I was just really glad to get home. I was really glad to get home. I really was. It was a great trip. It was a trip of probably a lifetime. Yeah, it was great. So anyway, that's where I was, and I'm back, and I should be here for a while, although there's going to be some more things that are going to be, I'm going to be gone a little bit. I did not get much while I was gone. I am not a big souvenir shopper because I have learned that the more souvenir stuff you buy, the more stuff you're going to have to get rid of before long at my age. And so I didn't buy a lot of stuff or collect a lot of stuff. So I thought I would show you what things I have that we did purchase. And I have some pictures I'll show you. And then we'll call it a day because I'm surprised I've lasted this long, to be real honest. And then I have all this stuff that's, all this trip stuff and things that I collected, some of which is be totally meaningless to anyone else in the entire world other than someone like me who does journaling and so forth. Some of it truly is no one would ever imagine keeping. Things like I was fascinated. I know this sounds probably insane, but I was fascinated with their utensils. Okay? Fascinated with this is one of the things I got. I got this. The only thing I got on the ship other than a jacket was I got this plastic envelope. Who could resist that? Right? You see it? Maker's gonna make. Yeah, I had to get that. I did. But I was fascinated with their utensils. They're wood. Okay? They are wooden utensils. Which I thought, those were on the plane. Okay, so that's what you ate on. They're not really good to eat with. But I guess the theory is that they must biodegrade. I don't know. I thought they were fascinating. Yeah, I haven't done that yet. I haven't gone through the mail. And then we went one place, 2 different times we had ice cream for lunch. And these were the ice cream things. Look, aren't those cute? Those cutest little things. Trying to get it where you can see it. Yeah, well, whatever. Anyway, aren't those the cutest little things? Like, here's a regular spoon, and look, there's the ice cream spoon. Those have to go in something somewhere, but I don't know what. Anyway, pretty cute. So in no particular order, I'm going to show you what things I did get. I did get a jacket because it was cold, and that envelope is what I got on the ship. So I don't know where I got these without looking at my I think these were from New Zealand, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they were New Zealand. But those of you who know me know how much I like card decks. And so these were, oh, it has a little easel. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know it had that. But these were everyday inspirational quotes and affirmations for everyday people. You're going to be happy, said life, but first I'll make you strong. And 40 messages of inspiration with affirmations. It's okay to feel a bit of a mess. Yeah, so yes, this was New Zealand. www.icandy.co.nz. Yeah. Anyway, so I'll just show you a couple of these. The problems that surround us can be overwhelming. We might not be able to change the world, but being grateful for what we have and kind to others makes a big difference. I just love the artwork. Affirmation, there is good in the world. I can't fix everything, but I make a difference by being kind. I am grateful for blah, blah, blah. So they were just an unusual shape and size from all the other decks that I have. And they are almost 4 inches wide by about a little less than 3.5 inches tall. But they're all different. And relationships require work. I know that my relationships take work. I communicate to make sure each other's needs are being met. Anyway, that was what I got from that. It was from a little souvenir shop. Those are the kinds of things that make a difference for me because I will use them in my everyday life. And yeah, and it didn't take up a lot of space and they weren't real heavy, and yeah, that was great. Anyway, I like those, but it comes with this neat little easel so they can be on my desk or whatever. So I got those, and let's see, the other thing I got in New Zealand was some fabric. I got a piece of fabric. It's a half a yard of fabric, I think is what I got. These are kiwis on caffeine. Yeah. Janet, don't you love these? Kiwis on caffeine. That's their bird, the kiwi bird. I love this. I thought that was great. So we went in this really nice, I don't know where it was. I have no idea right now. But we went in this really nice fabric and craft. It wasn't even really a craft. It was fabric, yarn, art supplies. I mean, I did not, threads, needlework type threads, like the good threads and stuff. I didn't spend much time looking because that was a place that would have been extremely dangerous for me. And so I decided I just wanted a piece of fabric, and so I brought this one home. This is the one I got. Because there were a lot of places in the stores that we went into that were kiwis, kiwi themed things, and quite a few of them were kiwis on caffeine. And so when I found this fabric, I'm like, I am so taking that home. And I'm going to make something out of it, and I don't know what. Anyway, so I brought that home. And then I don't know where I found this book. I did write all the stuff down in my journal, but I can't tell you, can't tell you from memory where I got it, but I found this and I thought, oh, I love this. So I bought this, Studley Duck bought this for me. The Mindful Drawing Journal, Your Creative Path to Serenity. Yeah. Anyway, it was a beautiful book. I have barely looked through a third of it, but this is my kind of stuff. I like books. I like fabric. I like, look at these. Don't those look, those where you blow the paint? Just inspiration. If I never do anything in it, I love looking at the pictures and reading. Look at that. And looking at, I love stuff like this. I love, love, love things like this. I'd never seen this kind of journal before. Never, ever, ever. And I just thought this would be such a good journal to have to, do whatever. Anyway, got that. I know the kiwis are great, and I love this book. So I got that and this. And then I was quite fascinated with the Aboriginal art. When Race was in Australia several years ago, he brought back a t-shirt for me, which I have. I need to get it out because I've never worn it, but I've had it for inspiration. And so we saw enough of the Aboriginal art that I thought, yeah, I think it's where we get a lot of the dot painting that we're doing here a lot, or has been going on in the U.S. for a while. I could be wrong about that. I'm going to live in the illusion that that's what it's based on, but I don't know. Anyway, I finally found a book that was, we went to a museum in Sydney. And in that museum, they had a bookstore, which also, I'll show you more of this later. Many of you are probably familiar with Yayoi Kusama, who is a Japanese artist who does things with polka dots. That is her art form. She is a character. She has orange hair. It's straight. I know, you know it's a wig, but it's orange, and it's like a page boy kind of blunt cut about here, like a bowl, straight across. And anyway, they had some of her art there, and they had little like pins and magnets and different kinds of things with her art. I'll show you more of the pictures that I took of her art. Anyway, I think that it's because she uses polka dots in her work, but they're usually big polka dots. That maybe that's why there was some of her work there, in association with the Aboriginal art. I don't know. Anyway, I found this book there in the bookstore, or in their gift shop. And so Aboriginal art, but it's got pictures and, I don't want just the words. I want the pictures. So I did get this. Anyway, I'm excited to be able to sit down and actually go through this and read it and look at all the stuff. I am fascinated with this art form, much of which is done with dots. And then in the airport, I think it was the Sydney airport, I believe, found these playing cards. And so they're Aboriginal designs. And it comes with the rules for playing Old Maid and War and Beggar Your Neighbor, whatever that is, Slapjack, and Fish. So if you don't know how to play those games, comes with the rules. Anyway, so this is the one side of the cards. So that's the one side of the cards. So they're all the same, okay? The other side of the cards, everyone is unique, I think. And so it has the title of the work and who did it. And they know the images are so little that you can't see it, but they are, I think all of them are pretty much the dots. Let me see. I can't tell you for sure because they really are small. The images are really small. Anyway, they're all different. Isn't that cool? When I found these, I thought, oh yeah, that's what I want, because that gives me the different colors. It gives me the different inspiration. I'm very much fascinated by the Aboriginal art. So I thought that was a very good souvenir, and it didn't take up a lot of space. I got 2 of them, 2 decks. So I really, really like those. And they were $6.35 for a deck of those cards. So thought that was great. And then a cool bag that I'll use. And there was, when we landed, or when we got off the ship in Sydney, they always have this duty-free area, apparently, where you can buy all different kinds of things. And that was set up, I'm sure because the cruise ship had docked, it was set up kind of like a craft fair, booth, table spaces, lots of table spaces of various artists and stuff. Wow, they had some great stuff there. Again, I was not willing to spend a lot of money, and I didn't want to have a whole bunch of stuff to bring home. But there was one artist that I talked to who did pottery and did beautiful pottery. I have not looked up online. I have not looked up her Instagram, but I'm going to show you what it is and we'll investigate further. But the name of her business was Wild Mud, and some of the pottery was made from, trying to get this so you can see it. Some of the pottery that she did, she actually went and dug the mud for, locally. And so this was her business card, Wild Mud. It's a little worse for wear because it's been riding around in my suitcase. She's on Instagram, and this is her Instagram, whatever, right there. If you want to follow her, Instagram.com/wild_mud. So there is her stuff. But yeah, Tulane was her name, Tulane. But this was the piece that I got, and it is a Christmas ornament. And I just thought it was very cool because I can look at it and I can see all the stuff in the mud, which I thought was really neat. And yeah, I love stuff like this. I'll probably write on the back where it came from, who did it and stuff. But anyway, so it's a little Christmas ornament, and it is about 2 inches tall. It's about 2 by 2. So just to give you a size reference, it's about 2 by 2. The ship, we could see, Janet wanted to know if we docked by the Opera House. We could see the Opera House, but we weren't, we could see it. We got up that morning at 3 or 3:30. I think it was 3:30. We got up the morning that we were going to get off the ship. I think it was that. No, the morning that we docked there, because we actually were there for a little bit. And got up so that when we went under the bridge, we could see it. So we went under the bridge, the big famous bridge in Sydney, and went right by the Opera House on the way to docking. It was really neat. It was really neat. Very neat. Very good place to be. So I got that. And then the other, you guys do you want to see pictures? I have some pictures to show you. I'm not going to show you a ton of pictures, but I have some. Then when we were in New Zealand, Studley Duck was very fascinated with, he was as fascinated with the Maori as I was with the, hey Beth, as I was with the Aboriginal art. And so he wanted a book, and so we finally found one. And so this was a book that he got on the Maori. And I don't know if I'm using the correct terminology, but anyway, and I think that's how you say it, Maori. If not, I beg your pardon. Anyway, so this was about the Maori culture, and I think this is going to be really interesting to read as well. He's read quite a bit of it. We also went to another place that was called Richmond. This was in someplace in Australia, I believe. Yes. We went to this, which was the Richmond Village. And that was a really interesting place to go. And Studley Duck saw this picture, and so this book, and so he bought that. I have not looked through this much, but that was a really neat village to go to. That's one of the places we had ice cream for lunch. Yeah. Healthy diet, but it was so good. Oh man, that ice cream was good. Super good. Yeah. Yeah, it was. And then let's see if I can show you some pictures, and then we're gonna go. Okay. Some of these pictures, I look a little worse for wear because I am whipped. Absolutely whipped. As in, really tired. Right? Some of them I look slightly better because I'm not quite as tired. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Every time you turn around on a cruise ship, they're taking your picture. Literally, every time you turn around, they're taking your picture. And then they, of course, want to sell you all kinds of pictures. And we bought a few, but not too many. So, all right, I'll show you quick pictures. A lot of this is not going to mean a whole lot to you. I'm just showing you this so that this was our group that we were with. So this is the group that we were with. That's me, in case you don't know. That's a Studley Duck. This is King David, who was the savior who got us on the flight to get home, and the Studley Duck's sister, and then the rest of the group. So we did that one night. This was when we were going through the fjords. That is what the fjords look like, with these land masses, and you just sailed through. That's where the horrible flies were that bit us to death. But it was so beautiful that he didn't even mind it, you know. This is the Sydney Harbor Bridge. We got up at 3 or 3:30 in the morning to watch as we went under this bridge. This had to be timed perfectly somehow because of the tide or I don't know, whatever. For the cruise ship to get under this bridge, and it had to go under exactly the right place, exactly the right time. And there's the Sydney Opera House. So we went under that bridge, we went past the Opera House, and we docked somewhere over in here. These were just kind of stock photos that we got. This was the ship that we were on. And this was a little free picture that I got that I couldn't resist. I could not resist. We did see some koala, and I will show those to you later. But is that not the sweetest little face ever? Yeah. Okay, this picture is one where I am super, super tired. I don't have on a stitch of makeup. I am absolutely wiped out. So I don't have a very big smile, and I'm really, really tired. And this is the same thing. But this was the tour that we went on. So we landed here in Auckland, got on the ship, we did this, and ended up there. So we got that picture just simply so that we had the route of what we did. So that was that. Then there are a couple of nights that we had, there were dressy events at dinner. So this was one night. And this was another night that was another dressy dinner. I was got to tell you, I was really glad when the dressy dinner things were over with. I had to borrow clothes from a friend to take for the dressy dinners. Yes. And these were a couple of free pictures. You got, if you bought so many pictures, you got so many that were free. So this was the ship we were on. That's the Sydney Opera House. This is Sydney in the background, obviously. And I loved this just because it was artwork of the kangaroos. I don't know whose artwork it is, but I love that artwork. I just thought it was cool. Yeah. So anyway, hello, Monkey Mary. Oh, thank you. He is. He is. He is a good, good man. So we decided that since we could put up with each other that long, that maybe there was a future. That many days in a row. And only one moment that was a little stressy, and that was because of me. Go figure. All right, I am going to take off. I missed you guys too. Thank you all for being here. And I'm sorry I didn't do any art today, but you know, I got to get my feet back under me doing this. I was hoping that everything had the updates and stuff with the computer took care of itself while I was gone. Since Race FaceTimed me this morning from Austria. He's in Austria. He sent me the cutest thing. You guys will get, if I can find the picture, you'll get a charge out of this picture that he sent me, because he's in Austria. He and Izzy are on their honeymoon. The first part of their trip, they are with some of her family, and then after that, they are taking their honeymoon. And so he's not where he can help me. And so I was very grateful that things seemed to work today. But this is what he sent me earlier this week. So you guys should see the humor in it. No kangaroos in Austria. I know, right? That made me laugh really hard. I thought that was great. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. Isn't that funny? Ooh. Cat hair. He finally went and laid down somewhere. So I did buy things. I'll show you real quickly what I got for this. I got yesterday, so that I'm going to put this little scrapbook together. I decided I just didn't have the patience to make a book. If I do that, I'll never get it done. So I bought this, which is a graphic 45. It says travel album, so it should work, right? It's one of the, traveler's notebook style things. So they're not real big. I can take them out of this cover to work on them. And so I got, these are rub-ons that I thought would just be interesting to embellish pages with. This is also rub-ons, I think. They're kind of my style, kind of that, style of, kind of artsy-fartsy stuff. And this with all the different blues I thought would be good for backgrounds, ocean swatch, color swatch. I thought they would be good for using in a notebook that had to do, or a scrapbook that had to do with a cruise. So that's what I got. Anyway, we will work on that probably for the next several weeks, putting together, and then I'll tell you stories and stuff about the various parts of the cruise if you're interested. If not, catch me after I'm out of my scrapbook moment, because it's not something I generally do a lot of, scrapbooking, but I wanted to do that for this, so I would have it all, kind of all collected in one spot. All right, I will be back. This is Friday, right? I'll be back Monday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern is when I'll be back to be with you guys. I am so glad to see your names in the chat. Thank you for being here. I hope that you have an excellent evening, day, weekend, week, day, whatever, wherever you are. I don't even know where I am. How am I going to keep track of where you guys are? I mean, really. And I will see you before you know it. So, as always, remember to get creative today, because you know it's easy. Thank you for coming and keeping it another no drama day for Barb. It's good to see you guys. I will see you before you know it. Bye for now.